because of greed have abandoned themselves to Balaam's error.
These people are not afraid of that. They're murderers.
In order to profit, even if it meant God's people getting damaged.
The way of Cain is slander. The way of Cain is murder. The way of Cain is hatred and envy and comparison.
All right, verse 11. Woe to them, for they have traveled down Cain's path, and because of greed have abandoned themselves to Balaam's error. Hence, they will certainly perish in Korah's rebellion.
Okay, 3 big...
Yeah. I'm like, that's...
3 big Old Testament stories to describe these people. Okay, so the first 2, we've got...
A path of Cain.
Okay, what is the way of Cain?
Murder.
Mm-hmm.
Empire.
Okay, how did you get there?
Because isn't there a whole thing about, I don't know if this is in the Bible, but Cain building the first city?
Okay. How would you tie that into describing these people, their characteristic?
For they have traveled down Cain's path. So would you key on the murder part there? I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the most obvious thing.
One of my very favorite preachers.
Betray.
One of my very favorite preachers ever gave a sermon titled "The Way of Cain." So,
yeah.
What he said is, so you got to think about the story of Cain. He had an offering, and Abel had an offering. They both did something religious. Abel did the offering from a pure heart and got the pure favor of God. Cain did the offering out of a selfish heart, did not get the offering, and despised Abel because he got the favor. So, and then hatred, comparison, jealousy, envy, ultimately to murder. And so what the sermon was about was the way of Cain is when somebody else gets the accolades for what you thought you worked for. Now, God sees the heart, so he knows that you don't actually deserve them. But you say, well, I did what I was supposed to do, but so-and-so got the accolades. And he specifically compared it to when one ministry succeeds and another ministry fails, instead of looking at yourself, repenting, understanding what actually went wrong, and getting right with God, you try to tear down the ministry that succeeds. And I think that is the way of Cain. The way of Cain is slander. The way of Cain is murder. The way of Cain is hatred and envy and comparison. Always comparison, and you have to be on top of the person who is doing better than you. And not by actually getting right with God and doing well, because that's what God tells Cain. He said, you can do well. You can do well. But Cain's decision is, instead of doing well, is to tear down the other person. So, and I think it fits in with the broader picture of who these people are. They're slanderers. They reject authority. They want things handed to them. They want it the easy way. They want the grace of God without the lordship. And when they see somebody who is actually walking with God, they have to tear them down.
I guess the example of that would be that they don't actually put people higher than themselves. Like
yes.
Counting others as more significant than yourself.
Right, so that's Paul's instruction.
Right.
Is count other people as more significant than yourself. And they can't do that. They cannot do it.
That's where it goes, is like, where does that start? Because, like he said earlier, was, hey, there were some people that came, that got out of Egypt, but then turned away. I just wonder where that starts, in the sense of, like, there's aspects of that I've seen, and it just, I don't understand, because it's just like, I don't see the reason why you wouldn't just want everybody to eat. You know what I'm saying? Like, bring everybody to the table, share all the snacks with everybody. Like, you know, you even see it, and I'm not saying this is the case for all kids, but whenever I grew up in children's church or whatever, you'd see the kid that was like naturally wanted to steal everybody's snacks or wanted them all for themselves. I never really understood that because I was like, well, we have enough for everybody. Let's just give it to everybody. Why do you have to hog the thing? So I wonder what the relationship between where it starts and...
You know what? I think that actually is key.
Okay.
Just that little phrase you said. We have enough for everybody. And that's God's attitude too. I have enough for everybody. I have enough love for everybody. The fact that I poured favor out on Abel does not mean I don't have favor for you. But I think really that is the key, really deep down.
So there's never
They
enough.
don't believe there is enough. They believe the pie is fixed. And if Abel gets a bigger slice, I have a smaller slice.
Yeah.
And the only way to get a bigger slice is to take Abel's. The only way to get more is to take from you. They do not believe in the generosity of God.
Reality. It's a distortion of reality. Because if you saw reality clearly, you know that God is infinite and that he equally loves all his children and cares for all of them. And you could have confidence in his character that no matter if this person has more than you now, that, he's going to take care of you too. And that eventually you'll, like, even if you don't feel like you're completely satisfied in where you are, what God's given you, that you have faith that, oh no, but I know his character. He's going to take care of me. So there must be a reason I'm here. There must be a reason, without letting it turn to the envy thing.
I think I've seen this in and inside and outside of ministry, especially in moms. I'm thinking of a couple of moms, in other people's lives. Not my mom. My mom is wonderful. But in other people's lives, I'm thinking of some moms, and I'm thinking of some pastors and ministers that I've met who, if you want to try to leave their orbit, basically like, hey, God is calling me on to do something else, to do something like I'm really excited about this thing that God is calling me to do. And it's going to take me away from your authority, away from your orbit, away from your control, and they will sabotage you to ensure that you do not leave outside of their control. And I think that is the way of Cain, that somebody else can have a life, where somebody else can have a ministry outside of me, that somebody else can move on and be blessed by God and have his favor that's not directly attributed to me and my control.
So 2 things to be said there. Is that an indicator of selfish motive that then gets...
Oh, yeah.
Well, because how it would manifest is, well, that's not good for you. Like, you don't want to step outside of this. You don't want to go over there because if you leave here and do that, then I've seen how that goes before and it never ends good. So you got to stay here. Like, could that be a good thing?
I think as, like, everybody has to hear that for themselves about whether that person is really trying to, like, I think there is a pleading. Hey, I don't think that's the right path. I love you. And I don't think that's the right path, versus sabotaging you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. How do you tell the difference? Is it just like a spirit thing? Like, it's just, you got to know, like, I see, and this is part of why I've had a hard time understanding this, because I feel like I can always see that and know if someone's genuine or know if someone's not. And we know that's a spiritual gift.
Yeah.
And it's not something, to boast about. It's just like, it honestly blinds me to empathy when people can't see that. And then, like, sometimes hurts me being like, how do you not see that? Like, I've had plenty of friends over the years, I'm not even talking in the church, that were about to get into business dealings with this person. I met them one time, and I was like, he doesn't care about you. He's going to, you do not want to get in business with him. I already know it. It's going to ruin. And then a year later, my friend comes to me and says, yeah, this and this happened with this person, and he did this. And I'm like, saw it coming day one. It's like, and so, but that's my question for those that maybe it's not too that obvious to. Is it something that you have to train yourself to see? Because it can, it's not always the outward indicators. that
Yeah.
can help you.
Maybe we'll go to the book of the book of James.
Okay.
This one has been huge for me. This is like a pillar for me. James chapter 3, verse.
James what?
James 3,
Okay.
verse 17. So if somebody's trying to give you advice, or if you're trying to navigate a difficult situation, the wisdom that is from above, so the wisdom that comes from God, this is what it looks like. This is how you can notice it. I think some people, they just have the discernment. They've got the knower. But you can at least use this verse.
Check it.
Yeah, and you can train yourself to recognize the wisdom that comes from above is first pure. It doesn't have an alternative motive. I actually care about you.
How do you tell that? I guess that's what we're trying to figure out.
All right, well, let's keep reading. Then peaceable.
Okay.
So that's easy.
Yeah.
Nobody's threatening.
Yeah.
There's no clock. It's not like, well, you've got 90 days to decide or we're not friends anymore. There's no clock. You're not trying to get your arm twisted. There's no threatening. There's no, I'm not going to be your friend anymore. You're going to be kicked out of my family if you don't. Peaceable. Gentle. So it is concerned about your feelings. And if it stomps a little bit too hard, it apologizes.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, repents for it.
Yes. Willing to yield. So the wisdom that comes from above. This is crazy. God's wisdom is willing to yield. At the end of the day, it is willing to say, but if that's what you want to do, you can do that.
Mine says accommodating.
Yeah. So I think that's what it is. It's like, hey, this is my advice.
I've created accommodations for you.
This is my advice, but at the end of the day, if that's what you feel like God has called you to do, you should do that. That is what the wisdom from above says. The wisdom from above doesn't say, you're an idiot, and if you do this, you're going to ruin your life. It might say, if you do this, you may ruin your life, but if it's what you think God is calling you to, you should do it.
Okay, I saw a meme the other day that was like, I forget exactly what it was, but it said to the order of like, the last phrase you say, just in case your advice completely ruins someone's life.
Oh, but I don't know. Pray about it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh, I don't know. I think there is tons of wisdom in that, where it's like you're giving someone's advice, but like in the back of I know I've felt this before, giving someone advice that you're certain of. You're certain this is the way they should go. They're going the wrong direction if they go this way. But in the back of your head, you're like, I could definitely be wrong about this.
And that's, so the wisdom from above is willing to yield.
Yeah.
Hey, from everything that I can see, I'm certain about this.
Like, you're almost afraid when you're delivering the advice. Like, I could.
Okay, but to take it back to Jude, these people are not afraid of that. They're murderers. They will kill you. You know what I mean? They will control you. They don't
care if they mess you up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. They do not care. Okay, the way of Cain. The error of Balaam. They greedily run into the error of Balaam for profit.
Balaam he's a prophet, right?
Mm-hmm.
That would like curse Israel and got paid for it. Mm-hmm. And they were like, hey, prophesy that this will happen.
Yeah. So I think the nuances of the story are really important.
Yeah.
The people come and they say, come curse Israel.
Yeah.
And he says, I'll pray about it. And then God says, no. He goes, I'm sorry, God said no. And then they come back with more money. And he goes, okay, I'll pray about it. And then the Bible doesn't say that he prayed about it. It says that he went. And then he got there. Oh, and that's when the angel of the Lord is standing there in the road. And his donkey is like, skirt. And then the donkey talks. He's like, what are you doing? And the donkey's like, yo, there's an angel. And he's like, oh, what's up, angel? And the angel's like, bro, you were not supposed to go. And Balaam's like, but the money. But I was going to make so much money.
You know what I bet? There was tons of people in Balaam's life that was like, dude, you got the bag, bro. You got the money.
Okay, so then he shows up, and they're like, hey, you got to curse these guys. He says, well, I can only say what God tells me to say. And 3 times in a row, he blesses them instead of curses them. And at the end, the king is like, do you understand how much money I was going to give you? And all you've done is bless them instead of curse them? So then here's what the Bible says. Because he couldn't prophesy a curse, he could only prophesy a blessing. He said, listen, king, this is how I'm going to get my money. I will tell you how to curse them. I can't curse them prophetically, but I will tell you how to curse them. Send your ladies in, entice them into immorality, and somehow along with this union, it involves a ritual sacrifice to their pagan god. And if you do that, God will curse them. If you get them to sin, God will curse them. And that's how he gets his check. Is he tells the king how to get them to sin and how to bring a curse upon them.
So Balaam's error was just like doing whatever it took for money?
Well, and I think this is even the crazier part. If you understand the story of Balaam, he understood the spiritual truth. He understood if you get them to sin, they will be cursed. He understood the patterns of blessings and cursings, but he sold out. He wasn't on God's side. He just used his understanding of the spiritual realm to make money. He totally sold out his understanding of the spiritual realm for money.
Okay, this is starting to come into view. The fog is going away. I see what you're saying.
I mean, he was a grifter. He had this,
but he's using actual spiritual power.
He was using actual spiritual
power, understanding of God's design.
Yes.
In order to profit.
Yes.
Even if it meant God's people getting damaged.
And I think that is the error of Balaam. The error of Balaam is that God gave you these spiritual gifts so that you can make money from them. And not that God gave you these spiritual gifts to serve him and advance his kingdom and work alongside of him. Balaam was given that opportunity to work alongside of God and advance his kingdom and be alongside of his purposes. But instead, he used his spiritual insight and his spiritual power to make money.
And I just think nowadays, I'm like, man, you would get so many people that would suggest that. It's like, hey, you got to make a living for your family. You got to take care of business.
But I think that this is especially pernicious because you can make money being a carpenter. You can make money being a plumber. But these people have a special gift given by God, a spiritual gift, and they use that spiritual gift for profit. And contrary to God's purposes.
I mean, it's definitely being presented here as this, but kind of one of the worst forms of evil. You're literally kind of walking down the path of Antichrist, right? Mm-hmm. Where you're just distorting. You know the truth, and you've chosen to distort it, reject it, use it for personal greed. Yep. Korah's rebellion.
Okay, Korah's rebellion. They're out there in the desert, and Moses and Aaron's cousin. So Moses and Aaron are brothers, and their cousin, Korah, makes this whole big fuss. He goes, well, why does Aaron get to go inside the tabernacle? Aren't we all just as holy as Aaron? We're all God's people, aren't we? So why shouldn't I be the high priest? And Moses is like, hey, bro, listen, you don't want to walk down this road. Yeah. And he's like, oh, yes, I do. So he says, all right, let's give it a test. You get your little incense, and you bring it before the Lord to offer it before him. And if he accepts it, fine. You guys can be the priest. But if he doesn't accept it, well, what ends up happening is fire shoots from out of the temple and consumes them. Korah himself doesn't go. He's standing by his tent, throwing a fit. And Moses walks out to his tent.
So he's not even brave enough to go.
He's not even brave enough to go. He sends all the other people that he sends all the other people that he kind of like.
What a loser, dude.
But Moses goes out to his tent and he says, if God is on my side, if God is on your side, nothing's going to happen. But if God is on my side, something that has never happened ever before is going to happen to you. The earth itself will open up and swallow you. And that's exactly what happens. The earth opens up, and Korah and his tent all fall. This is what it says in the text. They fall alive into hell. He goes straight to the realm of the dead.
Hell is at the core of the earth.
Yes. He goes straight to the realm of the dead. And that's it. So I think this adds in together the slandering, the rejection of authority, the obstinance, the arrogance. This is like rounding out the picture. But I also think if we could add one extra element in the rebellion of Korah is that it is adding the element of like specifically spiritual hierarchies. Korah is trying to leapfrog to the top of a spiritual hierarchy. Not only that he rejects any authority above him, and in a sense, he's rejecting God's own authority. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't care that God has made Aaron the high priest. He said, I don't care about that. I can be high priest if I want to. He's rejecting all authority, but also wanting himself to be the authority.
Wow. Micah or Hampson put in the chat Micah 3:11, so I was looking it up, and it's actually a good, like, I'm not saying all charismatic movement, but it is kind of feels like the charismatic
Micah
movement.
3:11.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Where it says her leaders take bribes when they decide legal cases. Her priests proclaim rulings for profit. Her prophets read omens for pay, yet they claim to trust the Lord and say, the Lord is among us. Disaster will not overtake us.
Yep.
Wild, dude. That's scary, dude. That's scary. Anyway.
Yep.
If you liked this episode, give us a thumbs up. It helps push the algorithm. Comment down below a question or a topic for next episode. If you liked our content and want to see more of it, go ahead and give us subscribe, hit that bell notification. And if you are a creative or innovative believer and you want to get involved with our ministry, we're a part of a ministry called Divine Creative Ministries, and you can go to divinecreative.org to apply and see more of what we're up to.